Dear Russian, Chinese, and American citizens, please do not allow our governments to stir up hatred and resentment towards one another. They will want war, but we must not fight. Our own governments are the enemy, not the people of our nations. Edit. Thanks for gold. Response 1.
Thank you for saying this. It's going to be very important to keep repeating this message loudly.
Repeat it the loudest in the direction of the respective governments. They're made up of people, and some of them will hear it.
Only the American government would hear this. The Chinese would shoot you in the face for suggesting it.
Yeah, the American government has a long history of listening to its people.
Deleted.
There was no vote, so who knows how he would have voted. I mean, it's not like politicians take multiple positions to pander to differing groups of people.
Deleted.
Response 2.
By reacting like this, you yourself are giving in to their, specifically, Russian, fearmongering. There is nothing to worry about. Nobody is seriously leading up to WWIII. Not Putin, not Xi Jinping, not even Trump are that stupid as to want war between nuclear powers. Want evidence? In 2014, Turkey shot down a Russian jet. Then, Turkish nationals, along with some Turkmenis, committed war crimes by hunting down and killing the pilot and the rescue crew. Turkey is in NATO. Russia went through diplomatic channels for its response. Putin does not want WWIII. Nobody wants WWIII. Stop talking about WWIII as if it was a relevant thing.
Deleted.
Probably along the lines that they think Trump and Putin are going to kill everyone.
The same people who believe everything they hear on the news and see everything as another escalation that will inevitably lead to the end of the world.
Better to believe unsourced YouTube videos.
I guess video confession evidence of collusion is unsourced. Oh, I forgot everything is unsourced unless it came directly out of CNN's ass.
Response 3.
You must be a teen. No nation named above wants war with any other nations named above. It is too costly. Do you know what would happen if China and US, who are very much invested in each other's economies, went to war with one another? We would be broke before we fired the first shot. We rely on China's market and vice versa. Russia, same with China. But while the US doesn't have as much invested in Russian economics, the price of war would bankrupt the Reds within a month. Stop being edgy and play outside, son.
Quote, you must be a teen. That's one way to feign confidence in your own argument.
Shush, the adults are talking.
Shush, the adults are talking.
Response 4.
18-day-old account with a populist post on a small sub that somehow gets to the first couple pages of our all. 100% legit.
Exactly. It's clearly one of those. Reddit has become pathetic, lowest common denominator, uninformed and unreliable.
Quote, Reddit has become pathetic. Agreed, as a whole. Quote, lowest common denominator. That is still Facebook. Quote, uninformed. On purpose. Quote, unreliable. 100%.
Facebook has old stupid people, Reddit has young stupid people. Same diff.
But the young and stupid hang out on FB as well. It is a fucking cesspool.
Social media itself creates cesspools no matter where. Wherever idiots can make an account and post, they will.
Response 5.
Removed.
Yeah, this is actually, literally fearmongering.
It's worse. It's trying to get people to distrust their governments and associate them as the enemy, yet it is only posted in English and not Chinese or Russian. If I am a foreign power and want to destabilize a geopolitical rival, a great way to do that is to get their citizens reading and believing vague info about how their government is the enemy.
Well, the current administration of the US government has actually referred to many of the country's citizens and institutions as the enemy, so I didn't want to focus on that part, since it seems like it could very well be correct equals.
Trump says that because he wants people to demonize his enemies. If someone asks you to demonize a particular person or group of people, you should always consider why they might want those people demonized.
Response 6.
Our shitpost.
One upvote equals one world peace.
I cry Aratheme.
Response 7.
Dear Russian, Chinese, and American citizens, please do not allow our government, the media, to stir up hatred and resentment towards one another. They will want war, but we must not fight. Our own governments are the media is the enemy, not the people of our nations. FTFY. Edit, I can't format.
It is certainly both. At this point, Trump and his campaign of us versus them did nothing to help with the concept of cooperation, and the biased media outlets CNN, Fox News, Breitbart, ShareBlue, etc. are amplifying that message of fear and impending conflict.
Response 8.
How is this shit almost on the front page?
I'm going out on a limb to suspect Op as a shilling up votes.
Response 9.
I think we all need to remember that it's not the people. The people just want to live without issue. Xiao Bao says it best when talking to King Kangxi, the people don't care about your wars, your plight, the farmer just want to live in peace and without fear. They want their community grow, they don't care about fighting.
China doesn't seem all that interested in armed conflict with anybody at the moment, they seem content continuing to make money for now. Russia isn't looking for it, but they aren't against it, I'd say. Russia is mainly looking to greatly expand their influence again, and while they'd rather avoid too much blood, they don't mind getting their hands a little dirty. America is having a split personality disorder in between being okay with everybody and wanting full-on war with China and/or Russia. They've always been a divided country, but it's showing a lot more now than it has in recent years. This one is more of a gamble on what they end up wanting. Either way, I think Op is right. Russia is the only one out of the three that is completely okay with armed conflict, but it's more of a if it happens kind of deal as opposed to them seeking it out. They'll avoid it if they can.
Quote, Russia isn't looking for it, but they aren't against it, I'd say. Russia is mainly looking to greatly expand their influence again, and while they'd rather avoid too much blood, they don't mind getting their hands a little dirty. I think you're dead wrong here. Russia's economy is in tatters, and given the likely expansion of fracking and the Keystone XL pipeline in the U.S., it's only going to get worse. To cope with this, Putin is directing the population's anger outward. That doesn't necessarily mean Putin is seeking war, but it does mean he is seeking increased external pressure, which might include war. Putin's problem is that he can't upset the West too much, or things will get a lot worse for Russia.
Response 10.
I lived in China for 6 years. I met far more lovely people than assholes. I am lucky enough to work with a few Russians. A cantankerous lot, but good people as well. My experience with Americans is similarly positive. For all of the above groups, I have met real idiots as well. Every demographic in the world contains a generous sprinkling of fuckfaces. Some even form majority governments. Don't let them get you down.
Response 11.
It's hard though. My country is currently being fucked by China. And Chinese citizens are apparently okay with their government's claim of the mythical 9-dash line.
Lol, you think their citizens have a say in what the government does?
Chinese citizens are more nationalistic than the government, if anything.
Yep, had a Chinese friend in my boarding school over a decade ago now. Great guy on a personal level, but couldn't ever talk politics with him. Brought up Tiananmen Square once because the naive 14-year-old in me believed that I could plant the seed of democracy in his head just by talking to him. He got visibly upset, and went on a long tirade about how those students were Japanese-funded traitors whose parents needed to be capitally held accountable for raising their kids to be susceptible to Japanese propaganda. It was pretty bizarre. He was a really kind, smart kid otherwise.
You'd get the same reaction trying to make the average American believe in communism. That might be because every example of communism in history has resulted in human misery.